Thank you. Please be seated. We'll go back on the record in the matter of State of Utah versus MacNeill. Mr. MacNeill is present with his counsel. The state's attorneys are present. The jury is seated. Inmate 1 is on the stand. You may continue.
So before we go on with the phone calls, yeah, Coach Runner.
You may.
I'm showing you an article online. The date on this one is September 19th of 2012. Mm-hmm. And that would have been before your interview with Investigator Robinson.
Yes.
Correct? And just to yourself, would you read the part that I've highlighted here in red? Can you read that?
Mm-hmm.
So in this article, it's talking about the burden of divorce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same language that you used in your interview with Investigator Robinson.
I never used the word burden.
Okay. And here's an article, February 25th of 2011. Did you read that to yourself? So, and this article is from ABC News, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this article from ABC News, they're discussing a perceived fairy tale of the MacNeill family, right?
Yes.
Same language that you used in your interview with Investigator
Yes.
Robinson. And you never saw these articles?
No.
And nobody from your family saw them and talked to you about
I don't know
them?
if they saw him or not. I don't know.
They never called and talked to you about them on the phone?
I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if they saw that article or not.
Okay. And so back to your telephone calls, you saw that transcript there in front of you?
Yes.
And if you go to the one August 9th of 2013,
Yes.
see that? You spoke with your mother a fair amount while you were in prison, right?
Yes.
And in this phone call, you're talking about Utah, correct?
Yes.
You don't have any ties to Utah other than this
No.
case, right?
No.
And so in this case, in this phone call on August 9th, 2013, you say, dude asked me about Jeff yesterday too, asked me about Utah. You see that, right?
Yes.
And then your mother says, uh-huh. And then you said, and he was like, man, he said. And then your mother says, might not supposed to be talking about that, right?
Yes.
And then you said, no. The person I'm supposed to talk to about it.
Yes.
And who is that person?
That's the SIS lieutenant.
Okay. And that's at prison?
Yes.
And then your mother says, oh, okay, right?
Yes.
And you said, he was like, man, he said, man, are you going to do it? And that's the SIS lieutenant you're
Yes.
talking about? And I said, well, I don't know, man. He said, don't make me jump across the desk and slap you. He said, right?
Yes.
You're an idiot if you don't. He said, man, you could be home. This SIS lieutenant he's a law enforcement officer, right?
Yes.
So he was telling you that you're an idiot if you don't do it because you could be home.
Well, he's a correctional officer.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what he said, right?
Yes.
And then your mother said, the state going to cut you a deal like that, you know? And you said, yeah, you know, I'm going to make sure I get Raven to talk to him, and I'm going to get in touch my lawyer and stuff and talk to her. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Your mother said, yeah. And then you said, and find out the real deal. If so, then I'm going. But if no, I ain't going to, you know.
Yes.
That's what you said, right?
Yes.
So in this conversation, you said if they're not going to give you a deal, you're not going.
At that time, yes, that was in August.
That's what you said, right?
Yes.
And then down on another phone conversation with your mother on August 9th, 2013, you said, let's just keep praying I get home around Christmas. Just keep that in your prayers. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
And to get home around Christmas, you were expecting that Utah was going to cut you a deal so that you could get out early. Right?
No.
No?
No. If you want to refer back to the interview paper right here on page 9,
Okay.
where I said, like I said, I have a motion in the courts now. The Sixth Circuit just started giving people the 18-to-1 ratio. If I receive it, I could get out tomorrow. I'm still referring to the 18-to-1 ratio. My motion is still in court. It's been delayed, but it's still active.
Okay. So even though you had this conversation with the SIS officer on the same day in this later phone call, you're referring to
Yes.
your other motion
Yes.
to get out early. Okay. So then on August 10th, there's another phone call between you and your mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, you tell her that you're hoping to get out around Christmas.
Yes.
Right? And your mother says, of what year?
Mm-hmm.
And you say, this year.
Mm-hmm.
And your mother says, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do you say? You want to read that next line?
I mean, with Utah, you know what I mean.
You're not referring to this other thing.
No, not
you?
at that point I wasn't.
So the very next day, you're not referring to that other thing?
No.
So on August 10th, you're referring to Utah thing as being the
In
thing.
August, I didn't know when I was coming to court to Utah.
You didn't know at all?
I didn't know when I was coming to court in Utah at all.
Okay, but you thought that you were going to get out before Christmas because of Utah?
No, because of the 18-to-1. I'm still referring to that.
Well, so help me understand why this is ambiguous then. It looks to me like you say, hopefully it will be around before Christmas of what year? Of Christmas, your mother says of what year, and you say this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right.
Yes.
And then your mother says, yeah, sure. And then you say, I mean with Utah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you were referring to the Utah thing as being what was going to get you out.
I mean, that at that point, yes, that was an option too, but I didn't know when I was going to court. When I say around Christmas, I'm referring to the 18-to-1 because that's what my lawyer told me.
Okay? So next you say, as soon as that go down in relation to Utah, right?
Yes.
And so then your mother says that she's not getting my hopes up, though, because I don't want to be disappointed. And you say, yeah, me too, right?
Yes.
And then your mother says, I'm just thinking that way. And then you say, I'm putting that date, I'm putting by Christmas in my head because the thing is going from October to November.
Mm-hmm.
The thing was the trial,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you did know in
Sometime
August.
between it, but I don't know when I'm actually coming to court.
You just told us that you didn't know when the trial was going to be in August, right?
No, I don't. It's not an actual date.
Oh, okay. And so,
It's sometime between then.
okay. So right here, just seconds after the part we read a minute ago, you're saying that the thing is going down from October to November, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't know when. Sometime between October and November.
Okay, why don't we look down to the next line. Then your mother says, but don't do that, because if you do that and it don't happen, you're going to be really miserable Christmas, so just don't even do that. And then you say, why don't you just read what you say there next?
He said that the thing is going to be going from October 9th to November the 9th. So then I'm going to have from November the 9th up until Christmas to get out, and that should all happen. So me and Raven got this, I don't know what that's supposed to be. And then it says I'm going to call my lawyer and stuff.
So you did know.
I mean, at that time, like I said, I have the motion in. I'm banking on the motion. I don't know what's going to happen with this right here. I didn't ask for anything,
Okay.
and I still haven't asked for anything.
Okay. So, but you did know, actually, you knew when the
I
trial
know
was scheduled for,
a
right?
timeline, but I don't know an actual time. I didn't know when I was coming here.
Okay. So then, down on line 66, you say, yeah, up, well, she, referring to Raven, already know. And Raven has been one of your contact persons with investigator Jeff Robinson, right? And so Raven already know. I told her when I was in Oklahoma that when I got there, we was going to crack down and see what Jeff's going to do. Jeff is investigator Robinson, right?
Yes.
So in the same phone conversation where you've never asked for anything, you say that you're going to talk with Raven and have her crack down and see what Jeff's going to do, right? And make sure he do the right thing, and you know, right? And then your mother says, just like that, and you say, because if he ain't, then I ain't. That's what you say, right?
That's what I said.
So if they're not going to give you a deal, you ain't going to talk. That's what you said, right?
That's what I said.
So then you have another phone conversation with Raven that same day, right?
Yes.
Down there, August 10th at, we're now down to 423.
Yes.
And in that conversation, you say, hey, we got to start working on Jeff and my lawyer next week too. Again, that Jeff that you got to start working on is Investigator Robinson, right?
Yes.
And you got to work on him to get a deal so that you can get out by Christmas, right?
Yes. Well, I mean, I guess that's what you're implying, but.
Well, that's what you were saying, right?
If I had made a deal with Jeff over the phone, you would have that conversation here too, wouldn't you?
I don't know, because I don't know
Just
where
asking a question.
yeah, I'll even answer it for you. I don't know, because you can talk on the phone in your counselor's offices that aren't recorded, right?
The only conversation I had with Jeff in my counselor's office is in this transcript right here.
Okay. So,
There is a conversation that I made from the regular phone to Jeff. You don't have that transcript of that phone call?
I've got just a paucity of it. I've got a very small amount of information that I'd like to have.
Okay.
So,
That's the information that you would like to have.
yeah, I would
Okay.
certainly like to have a whole lot more
I
than
was just asking.
just August. Okay. So in this August 10th, 2013 call, you say, hey, we got to start working on Jeff and my lawyer next week too, right? You agree with that, right?
Yes, I agree.
So then flip over to page 3 there. And then you say, so we going on with Plan A, which was Plan B, that got switched back to Plan A. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
And Raven says, yeah, I got you. And then you say, Operation Utah. So you call coming out here to testify against Mr. MacNeill, Operation Utah.
It was a joke.
Okay.
If you want to call it that, then yes.
That's what you said. You call it Operation Utah and say, we got to call my lawyer, right?
Yes.
And then on August 14th of 2013, you did in fact place a call to your lawyer, right?
Yes.
Left a message for her?
Yes.
And then on August 14th, you had another conversation with Raven, right?
Yes.
And you told Raven that you called your lawyer that day, right?
Yes.
And then over on page 4, you say, hopefully it will be around Christmas time. I got to call her back tomorrow, though. Right? And that's still related to Operation Utah, right?
Yes.
Then Raven says, well, that's my Christmas present then, right? Then you say, yeah, because you know the trial, it's October the 9th. Or October or November. October to November. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Then you say sometime around in there, that's what he didn't didn't he send it to you in an email? So you were referring to Jeff Robinson sending Raven notification about the time of the trial, right?
Yes.
And then you go on to say, well, I can't remember exactly when it is, but he told me, but I think it's October the 5th or the 9th through November the 5th or the 9th. He said it's a 5-week period. So if they're through the 9th, if they're through on the 9th, it should only take them a month to get me up out of here, and then I'm going to get home. That's what you said, right? So you were planning on Operation Utah to get you home on August the 14th, right?
I guess you could say that.
Okay. And then down just a little bit further, you again say, well, I got to talk to my lawyer tomorrow and really hear what she's going to say, and I'll call you tomorrow and let you know, but don't tell Mama now, because we're still going on along with Operation Surprise. Right?
Yes.
So now it's Operation Utah and Operation Surprise.
No.
For you being home.
No, not Operation Surprise. That's something else.
Oh,
That's
something
between me and my niece.
Okay. And so it's just Operation Utah in relation to testifying against
Yes.
MacNeill so that you can get home by Christmas. Right? So then on August 15th, you have another phone conversation with your mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you tell your mother you say, talk to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your mother says, I can't. And you say, yeah, you can, right? You see that?
Yes.
Then your mother says, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you again say, talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? And then your mother says, you know what it was? And then you say, what'd they say? So, and your mother says, you don't want me to say all that. Don't want me to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you say, yeah, you can. This is go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Then your mother says, but you know, they mentioned that it was coming up soon, and they have started reviewing what went on and why they even decided to do anything, since it was supposedly been a no questions asked, normal thing.
Yes.
So your mother's talking about Operation Utah, right?
Something pertaining to the trial, yes.
And then just a little later on in that phone conversation, then you say, okay, I just want to know what they was talking about, because I need to know, what I mean. I mean, not that I need to know details. I just want to know what they saying. You were referring to the discussions on the news, right?
Yes, it was something. She said something about the coverage was going to be on TV and stuff.
And you were saying that you need to know because you need to know the details is what you told her, right?
I need to know what was going on because I didn't want to be on TV.
Mm-hmm. And you indicated to your mother you need to know the details about the case, right?
No. Okay. No. I said, I need to know, what I mean. I mean, not that I need to know details. I just want to know what they're saying.
Okay.
And that was in regards to being on television. I don't know why this message is chopped up like that, but I was asking about the TV coverage because it said something about it was going to be covered on TV.
Okay, well, let's read what your mother says next. So they always have their discussion and have their little panel of guests, and most of them be saying that what he did and why he did it and all that, and this one up there talking about it really could have been an accident, he's innocent until proven guilty and all that stuff, and you say, I got to holla at Jeff, is what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this thing been highly publicized and stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then your mother says, yeah, but if you watching it, don't let nobody know you're watching it or why.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you said, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then your mother says, but if you get a chance, you need to.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the conversation that you had about.
Yes,
you
it
watched
was
the cover,
because
right?
she was telling me I need to watch it to see if it's going to be covered on TV. Also, not to watch it in front of inmates so they could see that I went to court to testify. I don't know why that's not in here either if all the other conversation is in there.
Well, if you said it about this, it's just in here as far as what little we got.
Objection, move to strike. Counsel testifying.
Sustained.
Then your mother says, it was all surprise. When it first started, I said, oh my gosh, this is it. And I watched it really attentively. Then when it was over, I emailed you, right? Mm-hmm. And told Ken I emailed you, and he said no, and I said, no, I didn't say a word, I just emailed, right? And then you said, yeah, you did it right, you did it right, right? And then you said, yeah, exactly. As soon as I read, I just got off the computer and just called.
Yes.
And your mother says, because I don't never tell you nothing like that, and I knew you'd know exactly why I said it. And you said, yeah, I know, right?
Yes.
Then your mother says, and I gave you the time, the channel, and you know exactly what was before, so you would know what was going on, right?
Yes.
So your mother told you when programs were coming on to watch about Mr. MacNeill, right? And then, like you were just saying, you said, I hope that thing is not on TV, man, you know, right? And then you say again on the next page, yeah, I got to get in touch with old Jeff. I got some questions for him, right?
Yes.
And then you say that he's got to talk to you because he doesn't want me to get all the way up there and say, no, I'm not even going. Take me back. You know what I mean? That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Then you said, I got to know because if there's going to be cameras in there and all that bullshit in there, then that's a wrap,
Yes.
right? Then on August 16th, you had a conversation. So the next day, you had a conversation with an investigator, right?
Yes.
And you said, and I was wanting to know, you know, would I get any type of credit of doing that? The investigator said, oh, you certainly should, yeah. Right?
What page? What? Are you
Page
on the
6
next
still.
page?
August 16th, 11:57 a.m. conversation.
What line you on?
262.
Okay, I see it now.
Right?
Yes.
So the investigator said that you certainly should get credit for testifying, right?
Objection, foundation as far as the name of the investigator.
Sustained. Can you lay the foundation, if he knows?
Do you know the name of the investigator?
Yes, I do.
Is it Steve?
Yes.
And then he asked, how much longer do you have on your sentence? And you said like 2.5 years, right?
Yes.
And then he asked you the name of the prosecutor or anything like that, and then turn it over to the next page. You said, yeah, his name is Jeff, right? And then you go on and you tell him that that it's related to the Martin MacNeill trial, right?
Yes.
And then you again on August 16th tell him the date of the trial again, right?
Yes. I said November the 5th or either the 9th through the 9th, something like that.
You said October the 5th through November the 5th, or either the 9th through the 9th, right?
Yes, that's what it says.
Then the investigator tells you, and so I mean that's going to help, But what we'll do is wait and see if they need you and you actually testify, right?
Yes.
And then after you testify, we will get with the AUSA. You understand that to mean Assistant U.S. Attorney, right?
Yes.
And so after you testify, we will get with the AUSA here after we have talked with the prosecutor out there, right?
Yes.
And then the investigator goes on to talk with you, and he says, and we would tell the prosecutor, the AUSA, you know, what assistance you provided the Utah people, and also we'll give the AUSA the name and contact number for the Utah prosecutor so he could confirm that if he needed to, right?
Yes.
And then he says, and then we would file a Rule 35, which is a reduction in your sentence, and basically you would not have to come back here for that. They could do that without you being present, right?
Yes.
And then over on page 8, the investigator says, I won't say that it would do away with those 2.5 years, but it certainly, I think, would put a big dent in it, right?
Yes.
And then he says, who knows if it's something, if your testimony is really great and kind of puts the nail in the guy's coffin, then you know you might get the 2.5 off, right?
Yes.
And then he asks, because how many for months have you served already? And then you say 77 or 78, right?
Yes.
And so the investigator says, so you've already been in for 6 years or greater, so you know it may knock that time off, right?
Yes.
So at that point in time, you're thinking that by providing testimony in Operation Utah, you may get all the rest of your time knocked off, right?
Possibly.
And then you say that you say he said he'd be willing to help me out in any way that he could.
Mm-hmm.
You're referring to Investigator Robinson there?
Yes.
And then you say that he said that he was going to call you, right?
Yes.
And this is on August 16th?
Yes.
So you had talked to Investigator Robinson as of August 16th about talking to your investigator about you filing something in the federal courts to get time off of your sentence?
No.
No?
No, I hadn't.
And so why did you tell Investigator Robinson to call the investigator then?
I was planning on asking him to call them. I didn't ask him for anything. I didn't ask him for any kind of deal, nothing like that. I asked him to talk with my lawyer.
You just asked him to talk to your lawyer about the deal?
Yes. I mean, I don't know why you don't have that conversation, though. You've got all the rest of this. You should have had that one.
I don't know why I don't have it either. So. And then you go on to say, because Investigator Robinson, was going to call you, and I don't know if he was able to get in touch with Beth or not, but I will email my niece and call her and get his information from her, because she has,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then turn over to the next page on August 17th. And then this is a phone call that you have with your sister.
Yes.
And didn't you tell your sister that you was excited because I talked to the lawyer yesterday,
Yes.
right? And he said, full speed ahead, let's do this. Referring to Operation Utah, right?
Referring to me coming to testify, yes.
And then you can say, I need Jeff's full name and number, right? Line 382?
Yes.
Then you say, ain't you got a private number, right?
Yes.
And then you say, okay, I need that. She needs it. She has to get in touch with him like Monday. I have to do it, or I have to have it, right?
Yes.
So then turn over to page 10.
Counsel, will you approach? Five after 3, we'll recess for the day. Please keep in mind my prior admonition to you. You're not to discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. Don't form or express any opinion about how the case should be decided until it's finally submitted to you for deliberation. Do no research on your own using your computer or something else, and avoid television, radio, or internet news coverage of the trial. Can we begin tomorrow morning at 8:30?
Yes, Judge.
I don't anticipate housekeeping matters in the morning. We'll begin at 8:30. Court's in recess.
All rise.
Thank you. Please be seated. You may step down. Let's back to Mr. Spencer, I think. Counsel, have jury instructions been filed with the court?
Your Honor, we had some people at our office working on them today. I don't believe they're here yet. We anticipated they'd be brought over to us by now.
Okay. What about from the defense?
We've got some here, Your Honor.
Slower than we anticipated.
Yeah, it has. What are the chances of you meeting together to see if you can agree on a set of instructions? If you have some put together and you have some, why don't you exchange them and see if there are ones that you can agree upon, and then we can focus the time we have tomorrow on disputed instructions.
It looks like, Your Honor, we only have one instruction that is in the stock, so I would say the chances are pretty high we can come to an agreement.
We might have
potentially.
We might have one or two is all. There probably aren't stock.
Okay. I would also like you to think about the issue of any curative instructions you would want me to give. I don't know that there are any, but we ought to think about that. If you desire any curative instructions, let me know, and we can talk about that. Anything else today?
I would just say, Your Honor, I think the likelihood of us being able to close tomorrow is not good.
Okay. Could
I would say probably an hour. Well,
you,
we've got some time with inmate number 1.
I would say maybe half an hour more, and then half an hour to redirect, likely.
Probably so.
Okay.
Gypsy Willis, maybe an hour.
Okay.
2, possibly, I'm not sure. We would then expect to close our case at that time.
How long from the defense?
I believe our case will be fairly quick. I anticipate calling Beth Besser, our ergonomics expert, and then Jim Van Zandt, Linda Strong, and AT&T agent Tammy Black.
Our cross-examination, at least on the expert, will probably exceed the direct examination.
How long?
The exam. Half hour at least.
So we could finish tomorrow then, but probably not instruct or argue. Would that be fair?
I think that's probably a good assumption.
Okay. Why don't we hear the end of the state's case tomorrow? We'll hear the defense case tomorrow. Recess. We'll get instructions put together in a form that has preserved your objections, but we get those instructions together, and we'll be ready to instruct on Friday morning and argue. Case will go to the jury at probably noon Friday. Is that fair schedule?
I think that's fair. And we've all expressed our reservations with the long weekend, and perhaps the jury would be willing, if the court is as well, to even deliberate on Saturday if it goes into the next day.
That's certainly possible, and we would need to make arrangements here at the courthouse to make that happen, but I think we can. Anything else today?
I think that's all, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much for your work. Court's in recess.
All rise.